guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Marthea.
And I'm Bobby Jarrell.
And this is No Filter. So, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
You
look good.
Thank
You're looking good.
you.
You're looking so good. You look blessed.
Oh, Jesus.
You
hey,
look
hey. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. No, but you're looking good.
Thank you. It's just this journey. And I think with, the topic for today's show is living with depression.
Yeah.
And, that's something that I personally have experienced a lot of in my life. So it's we'll get into it in the show, but it's I'm taking life at a different approach at life.
Right.
In a sense. How you doing?
Holiday season, and it's so good that we are having this discussion on today because, around this time it creeps in so heavily. So, but nonetheless, I'm still here, and
and I think, like you said, like around the holidays, it's hard for a lot of people. And so, our next episode is going to be dealing with loss around this time. So it's the episodes kind of almost go hand in hand in a sense. So, okay. Dealing with depression, like living with depression. For me, the first time I think I experienced depression, not knowing that's what it was.
Right.
I don't know, I was in my teens. I experienced a lot as a young child. And as I got older, I carried so much with me from 7 and 8 years old into my teens. And then in my teens, dealing with not knowing, I knew I was different, but I didn't know what it meant. It's like I knew, like, hey, I'm not attracted to girls. Like, I'm like I'd rather do this than play basketball than do. You're beautiful, baby.
No, I'm playing.
But it was hard because I was bottling so much up inside until it just kind of burst. And
you don't want to get to that time when it bursts because it is a bad time.
Now, before we get into this discussion, like deep, because we about to get deep on y'all. We're not professional counselors and stuff like that, so we're not saying that we licensed and we counseling anybody. I have been to counseling.
Same here.
Not just because I got a degree in with a minor in psychology. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. But it's just for me. Over the years I've learned how therapeutic it is to have these discussions.
Yes.
How to talk about it in a way that's beneficial for myself and what I'm going through, and in a way that hopefully it'll help other people that may be going through some of the same situations. So you say you have experienced depression,
yes,
right?
and our stories are kind of linked, kind of either similar, because I had some things that went on early in childhood. And, the black community, us as black people, when things happen, what we do, we sweep them under the rug. And so that carried on into middle school, that carried on into high school, and just going to college and not really being, yours was being comfortable or knowing who you were like that, but mine was just being different on the aspect that everybody around me was small, and I was like this big girl, because I've been big all my life, and so just dealing with that, and then behind the scene issues with parents and everything. It got bad in college. And I was in my first relationship ever, and it got really bad. I had took a lot of pills, had to be rushed to the hospital, and even at that time, I didn't know this was all depression.
Yeah.
You know, it just took a year after my mom passing. Well, damn. Are you depressed?
So was it like...
I just thought I had like a whole bunch of issues.
Did somebody have to tell you, hey, you might be depressed, or is it something that you thought on yourself?
No, it was countless people, you know, close people that were like, hey, you may need to check and see what this is, check and see what's going on, or talk to somebody. Not to say that they were saying, oh, you're depressed, but they were just like, you need to talk to somebody, you know?
You know, for me, like we talk about childhood traumas, like I was molested by two different relatives, a male and a female, both separate, two separate incidents. And this happened when I was like 7, 8 or so. And as I got older, it's like I started having so much resentment for them. And as a child, I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know who to talk about it to. And so I bottled so much of that up on the inside. And then as I got into my teens and figuring out, okay, these guys and these girls are dating, you know, me like, oh, I'm gonna date a girl, like, you know, that's what it's supposed to be. And so I was kind of in denial of who I was. And so on top of that, it was hard because I was alone. And like I didn't have anyone to sit down and say, okay, I don't know why I feel the way I feel. This is what I'm going through. And so then I finally met this guy when I was about 16, 17, and got into this entanglement. Got into an entanglement with him. You know, that's all I'll say with that one. But, you know, when I was 17, I took an overdose. It was my senior year of high school. And I was dealing with insomnia, not sleeping. It's like it was just so much piled on to me at such a young age. And I remember when I took the sleeping, I was at a friend's house and I took some Tylenol PMs. I was like, yeah, you know, I've been having issues sleeping. I'll give me 2 of them Tylenol PMs. Then I left there and I went to my cousin's house and I was like, let me get some of this NyQuil. Like, you know, I'm sleeping. She didn't know I took the other stuff. And so she was like, no, you driving. I'm not going to give you no NyQuil. So when she left out the room, I took some NyQuil to the head. Then when I got home, I asked my mom, I was like, hey, I have a headache. I need some pills. So I started taking some Advil. Then after that, I went back into the medicine cabinet and I saw some pills from my grandmother. That were old pills. You know, I'm young and dumb, not knowing that pills get stronger over time. So I took some pills to the head and then I tried to hide the pills in, you know, the alien, like the cups that you used to get at Astroworld. You used to have like the alien ones and stuff like that. I had one of those cups. So I put the bottles in there trying to hide them because like I knew I shouldn't have been doing this. But for me, it wasn't a thing of I'm trying to kill myself. It was I want to sleep. Like I just want peace. I want peace. You know, that's all I wanted. And so I was laying down and I'm like, you know, something don't feel right. Like I kept feeling myself kind of blacking out. And I'm like, okay, either you can lay here and Lord knows what the consequence is going to be, or you need to go tell your mom. So I went in the room and like I was at the foot of my mom's bed and I was at the corner of the bed and I like, Mom, I need to tell you something and I don't want you to be mad at me. And she was like, what? And I was like, don't be mad at me, don't be mad at me. And she was like, what did you do? What did you do? And I told her I took some pills. And so like she jumped up and she was like, come on, I'll take you to the hospital. And so we were leaving and my sister was in her room. And so my sister heard what was going on and my mom was like, he done took some pills, I'm about to take him to the emergency room. And my sister was like, take him to Chabert, which was this hospital my mom used to work at, or that my mom was working at the time. She was like, take him to Chabert, which was about 25 minutes away. And there was another hospital about less than 15 minutes away. But the one that's 15 minutes away wasn't a good hospital. And so like I was telling my mom, I was like, I can't make it to Chabert. Like the way I feel right now, I won't make it. And so we ended up getting to the hospital that was closer, and I don't remember the drive from the house to the hospital, but I remember getting out the van at the hospital, and then I don't remember whatever happened after that. And then after that, I was in the hospital. I had to do like this charcoal stuff where they make you throw up and everything. And I was in the hospital for like 2 days, and a therapist or somebody came in. And I remember 2 of my cousins was in the room with me, and they were like, the lady was like, "Can I talk to him?" And she wanted to talk to me alone. And so my cousin was like, "No, we're going to stay in here." And I was like, and I remember saying, "Nah, it's fine. Y'all can go."
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything that happened after that. The next thing you know, she was like, I said that I tried to kill myself, and that, and so they committed me to a hospital, and I was in the hospital from like Thursday to Monday, and I remember talking to the doctor, and the doctor was like, asking me, why did you do what you want to do? And I still remember in that moment, I was like, I was still kind of not in denial, but not wanting to say, this is what's wrong with me. This is why I felt what I felt in that moment that made me do what I want to do. And it was just like, I don't know why I did it. It was just a stupid choice. Like, I won't do it again. And it was like, and I remember I got out the hospital on a Monday, and I was working at an elementary school as a janitor. I would go to school until like 12 o'clock, and then I would go to work afterwards. And I remember I got home, and my sister was like, "Well, you seem like you're fine. You might as well go to work." So I went from the hospital, home, and then straight to work.
Wow.
And it's like, it still was one of those things where like we never sat down and talked about it. And so that was like at 17. And so like going into my adulthood, and like when, the other video you would talk about being promiscuous and sleeping with people. And it's like, I felt no value of my life. And that's why I engaged in some of the behaviors that I engaged in.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about what led you to wanting to do taking the overdose and stuff.
It was just a lot going on. And you would think from the outside looking in, like I had this perfect life.
Yeah.
2 parents in the home, car, anything I wanted, I could get. But it was just a lot of things that I needed to feel on the inside.
Yeah.
My mom gave me all the love in the world, but not so much so from my dad.
Yeah.
Even though he was still in the home, it was just a lot of things going on in the home. And of course I side with my mom all the time, and I just feel like at a young age, I shouldn't have been placed in the middle of a lot of things, on top of dealing with a lot of things that I was dealing with, being a teenage girl, wanting to like boys and being rejected all the time. And so that's what led me to, and I don't want to say being with females, but that's what led me to talking more to girls who were like that, and so I think my first time ever cutting myself was like 17, 18, and then fast forward, go to college, you living your life, and dealt with my first heartbreak, and it's like when things hit me, they hit me so hard, and I did not know how to handle it, because I don't feel like I had the tools to handle it.
Definitely.
And so I know in the last video we talked about sex, and when I get drunk, sex will heighten, but also when I get drunk, the other stuff heightens as well. So man, Bobby, it's just been a lot. I've just dealt with a lot of things.
So does it, do you still now, when you get tipsy, do you still get that depressed, or you feel those emotions?
Yeah. For my birthday, I got so drunk and, took some things out on my friends and my family. And that was the time when I had to sit back and be like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Yes, it's cool to go out and have a good time and drink, but I've been working. Don't get me wrong. Over the past, since my mom died, and I've been in therapy and things like that, I've been working to heal. Yeah. Do I have shortcomings? Of course, but I think I've done a very good job at trying to move forward. But I said in that moment, and I was just like, you can't keep doing that over and over again. Yeah. Like, find a way to deal with these emotions in a sober mind state. Yeah. So, y'all, dealing with depression is a constant battle. Yeah. Some days you're good. Some days you are at the bottom of the bed.
Like, for me, I'll say, when I was in the military, it was hard because I've always been like a thick guy, husky. And so being in the military is like you got to meet like height and weight and all that. Like you got to be a certain weight and pass PT test. And it's like I'll pass the PT test, but it's like I wouldn't pass weight. So I would get into this mindset of, in order for me to meet my weight, I need to starve myself. And so I was literally there. I remember one day we did PT, and I hadn't eaten in a day or so. And I was taking diet pills and stuff, and I got back to my room, and I was almost about to pass out. Like I walked in the room and I sat down on the floor because you walk in, there's like a little kitchenette area. So I had to sit on the floor and eat a yogurt out the refrigerator to put something in my body because it was like this mindset of I have to meet weight in order to get my promotion and do this. And it was I put so much on me where it's like I always want to be better. I want to make sure I'm getting promoted. Now mind you, I got promoted to E5, which is sergeant, in like 2 years and some time, which is fast. And even though I did that, I still wasn't happy with it. And as I've gotten older, I'm getting to the point where it's like the things that I thought would make me happy aren't the things that are making me happy. Now, I remember when I got out the military, I was, I had my moments of depression where I don't want to deal with anybody. I'm the type where it's like when it kicks in, it's like I just shut down. Yeah. I shut the world down, and it's hard for me to deal with it. Like if I have to work, I'll go to work. And then when I'm home, it's like I don't want to do anything. And I remember one of my cousins, she texted me one day, and at the time I was living about 15 or so minutes away from where she was in her mom's house. And she texted and she was like, hey, she's like, I guess you're in one of your moods again, but whenever you're feeling better, we're here. And that changed my whole mindset when it came to how people looked at me and how they dealt with what I was dealing with. I always felt like people didn't understand. Like I had one friend who told me, just snap out of it. Yeah. And it's like people didn't want to be around me at times because when the depression kick in, it's like it's not a good. My aura is just not good. Yeah. And so
that can go to someone else too. Energy is such a big thing.
Yeah.
And so I was just piggybacking on
that. And when my cousin said it to me, it was like that's the first time I felt like they understand. They're not upset that I'm not around. They just want me to get better so I can come around. And ever since then, I just kind of looked at it differently. And that's when I got to the point where I was like, how can I talk about this and explain it to people in a way that they understand? It's not, I don't go out that much. And I'm not every now and then I go and I try to be better now. Yeah. But having somebody understand hey, I'm in one of those moods right now. But when I can be available, like in the video with the one-sided friends, I'm in a place now where if I enjoy your company and I enjoy being around you, that'll push me to get past what I'm going with. And for me, one of the things that I've, over the years, like that's been helpful is to accept it.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I used to try to fight it.
Yeah.
And that's when I would go out and let me sleep with somebody. Let me go out and get and drink and try not to remember anything.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a place where it's like, okay, if I feel like I'm down, I feel like I don't want to be bothered, like I'm just, let me stay in this space and accept what it is. But in my mind, I also know that I can't stay in this space.
Yeah.
Because some people, when you get there, like you want to stay in that space. And I know that, what, like, say, like it's a daily struggle where there's days where you feel like, oh, I'm depressed. Some people might feel like, okay, this is the last day, I can't deal with it anymore. But you have to be able to look for something. You have to have people in your life. And being with my partner, even though he gets on my nerves sometimes, like he's, over the last 6 years, like he's made me feel so much better about the things that I've gone through. Yeah. Because he's been there,
That's good. That's so good. And it's a good thing to have somebody you come home to who can try to understand, want to understand, want to, okay, babe, like, what can we do? What are some tools that we can use to, like, get to a better place? That's amazing. I don't have that.
Okay, so it's like a thing of, like, well, I'll say this first, like with him, in the beginning, like dealing with the depression, the insomnia, it was a lot for him because he's never experienced it. Like he's experienced like hurt and like sorrow, but never depression in a sense, and never dealing with insomnia. So he didn't know how to deal with it. And so sometimes it felt like I was pushing him away. When it's like, nah, I'm not pushing you away. Yeah. And it's like for me, like when I'm going through things, I want you present. Like we don't need to cuddle, we don't need to sit here and have a conversation about it. But the fact that you're there is what makes a difference for me.
And we're both water signs, so we're both emotional and feel things maybe on another level than any other sign. So
let me ask you this. There's two things I want to talk about. Like one, I know you say that you're working on you. How does that look? Because it's really sound because your birthday was just last month, right?
I know. My birthday was last month, right? And I did kind of go off, right? And so I've been working on this thing here, on this healing journey for about since my last birthday, right? Okay. That's when I started therapy. And let me just say this. Like I said before, I've done a lot of work in trying to get to the root of some things, acknowledge some things that happened back in my childhood, coming to the conclusion that those things that happen in childhood is the reason why I'm so sexually driven or something, coming to those realizations about that. But then also knowing that I'm not completely healed yet. I'm not completely just this perfect person. I still deal with the loss of things, and I still deal with not having things that I want. And so, yes, my birthday was last month. Yes, I did have a blow up. But setbacks are accepted. Yeah. And I was beating myself up about that time. Now, the previous year, I didn't really beat myself up. But this year, when it happened, I was like, come on, man.
So, what would you say, like, the blow up, was it... So, I'm assuming in the past you've had blow ups before. So, was this last time as big as times in the past?
I don't think it was as big.
Okay, and that's progress. If you can look at it and say, okay, it wasn't as bad as last time, so I'm still working.
I don't think it was as big, but I know I have a way with words, and I know that when I do say things, they don't come out the right way. So I had to sit back and evaluate what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
This blow up, it was hurtful. Yes, it was hurtful. But I've had some blowouts in the past where it would be like, I don't care how you felt. That was how I was feeling at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to take responsibility to know that everybody is around, and some things that I said may have not come out the right way. It doesn't negate how that may have been what I was feeling. I just could have said it in a better way. It didn't have to get to that point.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to take accountability for your actions. Like I look back at, and I think I said it in the one-sided friendship video, that I had to look back on the things that I done when it comes to friendships. Like there are some friendships that I can say I wasn't the best friend that I should have been.
Right.
But I just wasn't in a place mentally and emotionally and spiritually and physically to be there.
Yeah.
But in my mind I thought, okay, I'm a friend, so that's all that matters. It didn't matter how I said things, because like if I said it was like, oh, I'm just being a friend. Like you should accept my words no matter how hurtful they are, because I'm being a friend.
Yeah.
But I realized that was coming from a place where, a bad place for myself. Now I'm at the point where I don't give advice. Like I don't give advice. Like if you come to me and you ask me for advice, I'll give advice. But I was like, before it was like, hey, you're my friend, so let me tell you how I feel about this and this and the other. But I realized other people, they aren't in a place to receive it. Yeah. So therefore, it's not my place to try and force that upon them. Now, for me, what healing looks like now is doing videos like this. Like talking about it. I wanted to be able to sit down and have a conversation and say, okay, this is what I've been through, this is how I feel. And like, some of the things that we talked about today, like I didn't know some of your stuff, you know some of my stuff. But it's letting people know that, hey, you weren't alone. Yeah. Hey, I've been through something similar. It's okay. It's okay to feel the hurt, the anger. It's okay to lash out. But as long as you understand that by lashing out, that won't change anything. Right. It's how are you going to fix that? How can you do better in the future? So it's like next year, if you have a blow up, it shouldn't be like the blow up this year. You know what I'm saying?
It should decrease every year. Yeah. Now I don't want to have any more like that.
What are steps that you can take, that you think you can take to prevent that type of blow up again?
Talking, communicating. Like I've said, I have not been the best communicator. I'm the only child. Yeah. So when I do things or, taking care of business, I take care of business by myself. Yeah. And so I didn't feel the need in the past that I had to always communicate. I didn't know how to communicate with somebody else effectively. Yeah. And so, what was the question? Shit.
Like, how can you prevent?
How can you prevent? So, communicating in a sober mind. More so, and just whatever I'm feeling, having a support system. I didn't have a support. I didn't look at nobody as a support system. I'm like, I can handle this on my own. Yeah. Even though I had friends who, hey, I'm here. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not there. You're not here. Yeah. So getting that support system and knowing that, hey, you can reach out to them.
You can reach out to me.
That's.
I'm here.
Thank you. Because I deal with it. Not as much as when I was in college or my young adult times, but I mean it's still there. I still have issues of where I want to be, and I'm not there yet. Yeah. And so, I think everybody deals with some type of mild case of like Miss Obama said, a mild case of depression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I definitely think that it's almost like I feel like it's a chemical imbalance, because it's just that emotion. Because there's days for me where it'll just snap, and I'm like laying there, I'm like,
I was just happy.
Why do I feel this way? I'm sitting up here watching TV. Yeah. Ain't nothing changed. This is my favorite show, and all of a sudden I'm sad. It didn't make sense. And for me, a couple of years ago, I didn't know how to respond to that. I didn't know what I was supposed to feel, and that's when I got to the point where I was like, okay, this is how I feel. Yeah. Let me lay in this moment.
Feel it.
But not stay here. You can sit there for a moment, but don't stay there. Yeah. That's my thing. One of the things I guess I would say for you is figuring out, as a board certified assistant behavior analyst, we look at behaviors and what the antecedents to behavior.
Analyze me, Dean.
Okay. So a behavior is going to be followed by there's going to be something that comes before that behavior. That triggers that behavior. It could be when it comes to depression, it could be like a thought. It could be just a holiday. It could be like something is triggering that behavior. And when it had those moments where it's just it just comes in, why do you feel that way? For me, I used to always feel that way the month of my birthday. And when I look back, I was like I can look back now and say, okay, I never felt celebrated for my birthday. And so the last couple of years, I was coming up to that moment, I was like, I'm going to be sad. Because I started preparing myself to feel sad. Okay, June comes, I'm going to be sad for June. July comes, I'm over it. But the last couple of years, I was like, okay, I'm going to be sad. I'm like, okay, why am I not sad? Why am I not sad right now? Yeah. But because I realized that when I was in the military, when I was a kid, having parties and nobody's showing up, as a kid, that made you feel a certain way. And I was still holding on to that as a child.
Oh, man.
But it's you have to, there's times where you have to dig deep and figure out, what is making me feel this way? How can I change what I feel? Now, it's not saying that it's going to, depression is just going to not happen to you, but it's how do we react to it? Right. How do we prepare ourselves to react to it? Right. Especially, let's say, the holidays are coming up and everything, and we'll talk about it in the next video, but it's those moments of, instead of being sad that people want around, how can you celebrate them? How can you celebrate their memory? Yeah. And I think, we're always taught in the black community, and one thing I've seen also, I want to mention this late in the video, mentioning it, but I talked to a friend of mine, a white guy, and we were talking about depression and all of that, and he was like, it's in the white communities, they deal with it too, where it's let's not talk about it, let's sweep it under the rug, and we taught in the black community be strong and this, that, and the other, and it's depression is not, it doesn't matter the color.
No.
No. And is that something we need to let people know, that no matter who you are, no matter what your race is, no matter what your background is, if you're dealing with it, it's okay to get help.
Right.
It's okay to talk about it.
Right.
But
and why is that? And why is it you have to be strong?
Because back in the day, I think that's what society was. It wasn't about men went to jobs, they worked in factories or plants and stuff like that. So it's being strong. A woman was the head of the house. Yeah. She took care of the kids. She couldn't be weak because that was her job. And it's I think that's why a lot of people do end up committing suicide and doing things like that, because they feel oh, this is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. And if I'm anything less than that, I'm not enough. Yeah.
It's especially when you set in your mind. For me, when I've set so many high expectations of what I feel I deserve out of life, and just day to day, and to not see it happening, I guess, on my timeline or year after year, it's the same thing. You get so down about those things. And like you said, you can either stay there and continue to be in that place where woe is me, or you can feel it, acknowledge it, and then move forward. Not to say that you're weak, But that is being strong as well, to acknowledge it and pick yourself up and keep going. Like, it will not be the end of you. And that's what I've had to continually say in my mind, okay, fill this out. Like, just fill it out. But at the end of you filling it out, get back up. Put yourself to fucking together. I'm so sorry for that, but that's how I have to talk to myself sometimes. And go out there and handle your business.
You know, I saw a post, I shared a post on Facebook, and it was saying, if you tried and failed, congratulations. Because most people won't even try. And when I was younger, it's like there's some things I went through, like being in the military and everything that happened with my time in the military. It was like when I got out, I was like, is this the right decision? Like, should I do this? Like, what am I making the right choice? And so that led to depression, because it's like, okay, this was a stable check. You know? Like, what am I going to do now? Like, oh, my lights got cut off. Like, why am I going through this? And one of the things I used to tell myself, like, I don't know how much of a believer you are, or how much the audience is a believer, but I would always say, you're going to go through some of the same tests over and 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 over again until you learn the lesson. But once you learn the lesson, this is the part that I had to learn. Once you learn the lesson, you're going to still go through the same test. But if you learn the lesson, you know how to get through it next time. Yes. And that's where, you know, like I used to always go through, like, I'm like, okay, God, why am I going through this again? Like, what's wrong? Is like the thought that you're questioning why you're going through it again right now lets him know you haven't learned the lesson. But once you learn it, you're like, oh, God, God, is that you again? Like I got you, God. Let me move through it. And I think that's when, like, when it comes to depression, being able to say, okay, God, this is what I'm going through. I understand what I'm going through. Let me pray about it, sit in it, and move forward. And I think that's where, you know, it gets hard, because, like, we look at people in the past, like, say, Robin Williams, who committed suicide, and you think, like, this is somebody who's brought so much joy to the world, but what was he dealing with on the inside that the people around him didn't know? And it's like, I never want to get to that point where it's like, everything I'm doing is for the audience and the people around me, and I'm not taking care of myself.
That's the biggest part, taking care of yourself. And I've been the type where I've gave so much of me to everybody else, because I'm a nurturer, so that's what I do. But at the beginning, well, we had quarantine, and so maybe the half of being in quarantine, I had to just sit and say, you have got to pour into you.
Yes, yeah.
Because you can sit and you can wait for this friend to force feed and
or like and share.
Or you can wait for this family member to come over and be like, are you doing okay? Or you could do it yourself. And yes, it's always nice to know that someone that cares about you and loves you is like right there at the doorstep, and it's like, hey, I felt like you weren't doing your best, so here I am. But at the end of the day, you can't count on that.
And that's another thing, is like, I don't know if you said it, but like, you have to also be able to say, like you did say it, call them up and be like, hey.
I'm getting used to that, because I wasn't. I never would call anybody up because I'm like, I can deal with it myself, and then be at home just by myself.
So what would you, like, okay, for the next year, what is your challenge to yourself on how to deal with your depression and your feelings? How, like, what can you do? Like, something that's obtainable and like it's a tangible, not tangible, I guess, but something that's obtainable that you know, okay, this is something that I can do to be better and work on the things that I'm going through. What's that? What could it be?
First of all, I'm still doing therapy. So I'm very consistent with therapy. And it's okay, y'all. I know the black community, we don't need to go talking about our problems with anybody else. Hey, I come from a family like that. but it's okay to do therapy. So I'll continue doing therapy, and I'll continue to just pour into me, taking myself out on little dates. Because one of my biggest things is I'm 34 and I'm not in a relationship. I'm not married. I don't have kids. And I'm like, man, my biological clock is ticking, so what's going on? So at this point, it's just like dating me.
Yeah.
Learning me.
Yeah, and I think once you do that and get into that place, then the other things will come. Yeah.
Now I'm not forcing it, and I'm not settling for it, but I think it's been a long time for me to just sit and be like, well, who is Marthea?
Yeah. I
was in the shadow of my mom for forever, and then she left. It's like, damn. Who is Marthea? So I'm learning me. I'm enjoying it.
And I think that's definitely something good. So like doing those dates and just even if it's like at home, like say okay, tonight I'm gonna get dolled up a little bit and just have my night to myself and enjoy things. I think that within that also being able to say, not tonight. Not today. I'm just going to be alone with my thoughts. For me, I think one of the things that I've been doing, been trying to work out and all of that, is like I'm taking this whole new approach to working out. Because before, every time I've been going to the gym these last 3 weeks, I've been asking myself, why am I doing this? Because when I'm in my 20s, it was like, oh, I gotta be slim, I gotta be cute, I gotta be sexy, I gotta get the boys' attention.
Yeah.
That's why I was doing it. It's like now it's like I want to feel confident.
Right.
I want to feel like when I put on my clothes and I go shopping, because I for so long I've been I'll wear like a size too big. And even looking at some of the videos that we've done so far, I'm like, I don't like how I look in that. In the past, I'll delete it, but like, yeah, we're gonna have to refilm this. Yeah. I gotta find a different shirt to put on. But now I'm getting I'm trying to get comfortable and confident in myself and be like, okay, this is who I am.
Yeah.
If I want to change it, let me take steps to change it. And when I ask myself why am I doing it? I'm doing it because I want to be healthier. I want to feel confident.
Yeah.
And it's not about anybody else. Because before, in the military, I'm starving myself because so they can promote me. They can see my worth.
Yeah.
But now it's let me do it for me. And I think I haven't in the past when I have lost weight and gained weight and lost weight again, it was either I'm starving myself and taking diet pills or taking diet pills and working out, trying to kill myself in the gym 3 hours, 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's let me get that out of my mindset. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's reprogramming my mind. It's hard. It's very hard.
It is. But doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
When you come to that point, then a lot of things change, because it was like a aha moment when I sat there and I was just like, put it into yourself.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that, I'm like, okay, what is this looking like? What does this look like? And it's sometimes saying no.
Yeah. Yep.
When you've been there for everybody, and just at that moment you just can't do it. It's saying no, and it's being showing up for yourself more so than anything. And so at this point, I don't know if depression. Let me say this. I do want to heal, because I feel like it's a saying where if you don't heal, it'll go down to different generations and everything. I do want to heal, because I feel like generations before me had so much issues that they were dealing with, but because they've been conditioned to be like, no, you're strong, you're a strong black woman, it just trickled down to me. And so I don't want that to go be on my daughter or my children. And I want my husband existence.
Name it and claim it.
I want my husband to have a whole me and not a broken little girl me. Yeah. So I'm gonna work. I'm working on it.
Now, I don't know, your opinion may be a little bit different, but when it comes to like healing, I don't think it'll ever go away. Yeah. And I think it's like healing the mindset of how you deal with it. And that's like that's what helps the depression. Like if you learn to be able to say, like I said, I keep saying it, like sit in it, and then you can say, okay, I can't stay here. Yeah. Let me deal with it. Like when you feel like I can feel it coming on. Like I can feel it where it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way? And there's times where I'll hit up my cousin's friend and be like, hey, let's go eat lunch. I just need to be out, and I need to be around that positive energy. And that's why, like with going back to one-sided friendships again, like there's so many people that I just had to say, okay, nah, I can't be friends with you because you're not nurturing my spirit. You're not nurturing my soul the way I need. And I think, like I said, with depression, I feel like it's so much of other people's BS that weighs on you that makes the depression heightened. And
overthinking and putting, because I'm an overthinker too. So putting scenarios in my mind that might not necessarily be there, but I have just thought about it. It's like, well, this is what it is, and just weighing my whole self down.
And that's something that you have to learn how to say, you know what, it's okay. It's fine. Like this might be a silly example, but like with work, we talked about it and being black in 2020. Like you always feel like you got to be on. You got to make sure that you're professional. And I'm at the point now. Like I had an interaction with like this new supervisor, and she was talking like we were supposed to have a phone conversation about something, and she canceled the one time. She's like, oh, let's do it at such and such time. That time came. She's like, oh, let's do it later. And I'm like, and she wanted to do it like 7:30.
In the evening?
Yeah, in the evening. In the past, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. If that's what works for you, I'm like, yeah, I'm not available. Yeah. Like you're cutting into my time. And it's like that, being able to say that is important. Like you have to have those boundaries when it comes to work, when it comes to friends, like even a relationship, you got to have those boundaries. Yeah. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, you got anything else to talk right now? One of the last things I want to talk about is, I said my partner, it was something that he had never experienced before, like dealing with somebody with insomnia and dealing with depression and everything like that. How do you explain to people what you're going through, and like what tips can you give to, say, a partner, a friend, a mother, a husband? Like, how do you tell people or teach people how to deal with someone who has depression?
Patience. Because a lot of the times that person may not be able to articulate how they're feeling, at that moment. Yeah. And so you have to have patience, and you have to, if you really want that person to be in your life and just do well in life, read up about it. Kind of prepare yourself on things about depression, or what are some of these signs that a person dealing with depression deal with, and just sit in it with them. It may be something that's out of the norm for you, but just sit in it with them, and I know I would be so appreciative if someone would just be like, okay, I don't know how to deal with this with you, but I'm right here dealing with it with you. So
for me, I think like that patience is definitely, it's important, it's needed, and understanding that it doesn't always look the same on every person. Some people act out, some people shut down, but being able to say, okay, you're going through this, sitting with them, that doesn't mean trying to get them to talk about it. It doesn't mean trying to understand it. It's just at that moment, let me be here for you. And ask the person, like, what does that look like for you? If you need me to be here, how does that look? What do you need from me? If it's just I want you to sit here and let's watch a movie together. That makes a difference. Like sometimes like you think, oh, like you don't look sad, you don't look like you're wrong, but it does how it's presented, it won't always be the same. I guess I would also say just being able to show a person that you're available for them. Because sometimes when you're going through things, when a person is going through things and they want to reach out, but it's like, I don't want to bother you.
Right.
Well, I don't, this is what I'm going through. I know you don't understand, so I'm not going to say anything. Let them know that you are there. You're willing to be present. You're willing to be that shoulder for them to cry on, that shoulder for them to just lean on, or just to be that friend that's there for them. Yeah. And I guess the last part of advice for like somebody that's trying to be supportive, being there and sitting in it with them, but also taking that time to refill your own your mental, take care of your mental, because it's easy to get sucked into it, and I think that's where a lot of resentment comes from, because like, oh, you depressed and I'm here for you, and like you made me feel a certain type of way.
Yeah, I didn't got this.
It's okay to say, okay, it's okay, like let me be there for my friend, let me help my friend, but also take that time for yourself and be like, okay, let me recuperate, let me refresh my mental, so I can be that strong friend that they need for me to be. But that's it. That's my last thoughts on that one.
And just be kind.
Yeah.
Everybody, especially in 2020, everybody's going through something. Everybody has gone through something, and so just be kind to one another and show up for people that you say you care about.
Have you ever for me, music is a big help.
Oh, I love music.
Have you ever listened to like what will be one song that like you would say like your go-to song when you're depressed or like when you're feeling emotional?
I have so many, but the one song, if I'm down and I want to kind of get happy, I go to Whitney Houston. I'm Every Woman.
Okay. I'm every woman. It's all in me.
Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally. Oh, oh, oh. That or Mary J. Blige, I'm fine. I'm fine, 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 fine. And then the gospel, good old gospel.
Some gospel. Like I be in the gym listening to gospel. Do you listen to Fantasia? Have you ever heard the song "You Were Always on My Mind"?
Yeah, that's on what, the second album?
The first one.
The first one.
The first one.
Okay, I didn't listen to the first album a lot, but that the one where I nominate you, that album, baby, was on repeat.
Well, on the first album, the song is a Willie Nelson cover. She did it on American Idol, and then she put it like she did a cover on the album. But on the song is basically it's like a love song. It's like telling the person like if I didn't treat you the way I should have, then I'm sorry, but I want you to know that you were always on my mind. Okay. So I was in the gym the other day, and it's like I was kind of trying to meditate and just like get into this mental positive space. And when the song came on, it's like it took a whole new meaning for me because I started singing it to myself. Like I didn't always treat you the way that I should have treated you.
Oh, Bobby.
And it's like that in that moment, it's like it was like. Gotcha.
That's an aha moment.
Yeah, it was. Like, it was. But this was a fun talk.
Yes.
Like we want to have fun topics and all that, but we also want to have like serious moments where we sit down and talk about real things, because there's so many people out there in the world that are struggling with depression, anxiety, and it's like it's hard. Like my stage play, that's something that I covered on because it was things that I went through in my personal life that I wanted to put on stage, but in a performance type way. Hopefully, if you're watching this video right now, please leave a comment. Let us know like if you've experienced depression or if you've been that supportive friend for somebody. Let us know your personal experiences. I know we got a lot of people that's been watching the videos and everything, but we want you guys to interact with us. Like, let us know what you think of the videos. Let us know, you know, when it comes to the topics like depression, like let us know what you're going through. Let us know what you've been through, how you've dealt with it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And if you are a person who's like, oh my God, I'm dealing with it right now, you know, DM us. Let us know.
If you just need somebody to talk to.
Need someone to talk to.
Hit us up. We'll talk to you. We'll, you know, find some research. I have a cousin that works in the mental health field. She's a licensed counselor. Like she does like personal counseling. All right, so anybody out there that's watching this video right now, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think about this video. Let us know what you think about the topic. Hit us up in the comments. Like I said, we would love to hear from you and interact as much as possible. You know, there's so many people out there that's dealing with depression and anxiety and they feel like they're alone, but if you've watched this video, we are here to tell you, you are not alone. At all. You are not alone.
I'm here with you.
But like I said, hit us up, man. Like follow us on Instagram at No Filter the Show, Facebook at No Filter 2.0, and you're on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now, so hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and just let us know, you know, if you've experienced depression, if you've ever been that supportive friend that was dealing with someone who has depression. Let us know your experience. We would love to hear from you. So. Yes.
So thank you so much, guys, for the people who have supported and have watched our videos. Thank you. It means so much to us.
Yes.
So that's it. I just really wanted to say that because I know what people do, whatever, but for the ones who have already done it, thank you so much.
Definitely. So, until next time, I am Bobby Jarrell.
I'm Marthea.
And this is
No Filter.